Hello everyone and welcome to GoldenNova's First Reacts, where I react first to all the things you want to see reacted to first, as long as I'm the first person you come to react to things first. Wow, a lot of things have happened since the last time we talked. Not only have a lot of Blazing Dominion cards been released, we've gotten a look at the overframe cards, the frame breaks that we've been teased at for a while, and I thought I didn't have to talk about those. I saw the images, they look really cool, and I saw that they were like Blue Eyes and Dark Magician, and I thought, oh, okay, it makes sense. Use the old familiar cards to sell the concept, and we'll get different frame breaks as the game goes on, maybe for some more original monsters. And we did see reprints of things like Mirror Jade that are going to get frame breaks, and I'm very excited for. But I did find out that they actually, those Blue Eyes and Dark Magicians are their own actual cards, so we do have to cover those. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to talk about Blazing Dominion, and we're going to be talking about the Endymion cards that I missed out on. I'm looking forward to seeing what new mechanics those will introduce. I've got Moby on standby right here. Let's go ahead and get started by talking about some more Predaplants. I love these. I don't think I've used them very often, but it's a fusion deck, so I am obligated to love them. And Yuri is just such an asshole. I can't say no to you, you creep. Let's go ahead and take a look at our first card, Starving Venom Winged Dragon. Yeah, it looks like we're putting together the powers of Clearwing and Starving Venom for a Scale 10 fusion monster. Scale 10, level 10, Dark Dragon Fusion Pendulum monster, 3300 attack, 2500 defense, Pendulum effect. Each time any number of monsters are special summoned to your opponent's field, place a Predator counter on each of them, and if you do, any of those monsters that are level 2 or higher become level 1 as long as they have a Predator counter. The usual Predator counter effect with how that works out. So, on special summon, they get Predator counters. That's pretty good, and I would love to see that on something like a continuous spell, or a more manageable to summon monster. This is only a pendulum effect of a pendulum monster that starts the game in the extra deck, so expectations are already pretty low. Its materials are a fusion monster and a clear wing monster. First effect, once per turn, if your opponent special summons any number of monsters face up, you can target one of them, and until the end of this turn, this card gains attack equal to that monster's, also negate that monster's effects. That is a once per turn, not a hard once per turn, but you're not going to be continuously stealing attack power and negating effects, so I suppose, choose your targets wisely. Second effect, once per turn, when another card on the field activates its effect as a quick effect, you can destroy one card on the field. So, no matter whose effect it is, so it can be proactive and reactive. And third effect, if this card in the monster zone is destroyed, you can place it in your Pendulum zone, a classic effect of the extra deck Pendulum monsters. I don't know. Maybe there's some line of play that I'm not aware of with how this works, but this feels just like a fun card, you know. You had to put like a boss monster in there, and Predaplant aren't jonesing for boss monsters. They've already got some pretty good options, so I guess this is just a fun little thing to add to the Dimensional Dragon continuity. The important thing is the main deck monsters, the little materials that make up the fusion monster we'll be going into, and the first one is Predaplant Lily Lizard. A level 3 Dark Plant monster with 1200 attack and defense. You can only use the first, second, and third effect of this card's name once per turn each. First effect, if you control a Predaplant or a Starving Venom monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, and then you can add a Polymerization from your deck to your hand. Okay. It doesn't grab from the graveyard, which is unfortunate, but if you run a healthy amount of Polymerizations, which I'm pretty sure Predaplants like anyway, it's a free summon, and you get Polymerization. It's got a fusion attached to it. Moby, now is not the time to be playing Pathfinder. You had your chance. Second, you can target one face-up monster on the field. Its attribute becomes dark until the end of this turn. Very relevant for a number of Predaplant cards, but also really good for a little thing that we call Super Polymerization. And third effect, if this card is special summoned from the graveyard, you can draw a card. Okay, so it's not Disc Commander. And it does have a hard once per turn. But the deck does have a repeatable way to get a draw by getting you material. Like, if you summon out of the graveyard, you get a draw, which you're then presumably using as material for stuff. And there are a few Predaplant cards that do revive from the graveyard, give you material. I forget if they negate the effect of the monster is the thing. I will look out for this one. That seems... It's a polymerization searcher, so it enables fusion summons. It can change attributes, and it can draw you cards in the long run. This is, yeah. This is a warning alert on Lilizard. Predaplant Longophilia, level 1 dark plant. I guess I saw a synchro at the top of this, right? Okay, so I shouldn't be too surprised. We were introducing a tuner monster into our fusion deck, but I guess that's Yugioh's influence, though that's not what they do. They don't fusion. It's Yugioh. Yugioh uses synchros. You can use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. First effect, if this card is normal or special summoned, you can add a Predap card from your deck to your hand, except a copy of this card. It's Predap card. So all Predaplant monsters and the Predap Spell and Trap cards, which there are plenty good ones. Second effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then activate one of these effects. Place a Predator counter on a face-up monster on the field, doing the usual Predator counter stuff, or set a polymerization from your graveyard or banishment. Okay, this card is really tight. So on summon, it's Stratos, it tutors animals in the graveyard. It's a Predator counter enabler, which the deck can never get enough Predator counter enablers, or it gets polymerization into rotation. This is cool. You can normal summon this. You can get Lilizard, special summon Lilizard, get a polymerization, fuse the two of them together for Ambulo, I think is like from the last wave of support, that level 5 one that just requires 2 monsters. That'll get you some support. I think that's pretty good. I think there's something going on here. But first we have to check Predaplant Balthea, a level 4 Dark Plant Synchro Tuner monster, so it wants to Synchro even more. It's got 1900 attack, 1000 defense, requires generic material. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. First effect, if this card is Synchro summoned, you can special summon a Predaplant or Starving Venom monster from your face-up extra deck or graveyard. If any number of monsters are special summoned to your opponent's field, you can banish this card and 1 polymerization from your graveyard to fusion summon a fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field. So that is a quick polymerization. I do think that's cool. It also adds to our last monster being able to set banish polymerizations. We can banish it with this and then still get it into rotation. Notably, okay, so the Starving Venom thing, of course, is throwing me off. The face-up extra deck thing, this is like, that's an edge case. The thing that it cares about is summoning Predaplant monsters from the graveyard when it's synchro summoned, because you're going to put a couple in there when making this, presumably. The idea here is, I guess, to bring back Lilizard, which gets you the draw immediately. And this is, what, a level 3? Oh, you don't even have to use the polymerization to fuse these two together. It's level 1, level 3. You sync them together. You get this, so you can make a level 7 Synchro monster, which is Clearwing. That's so funny. That's really funny that it's set up that way, huh? I wonder what other stuff it allows you to do with all of that. But there's certainly a lot of lines that could be utilized. You could use that polymerization to fuse the Synchro and the Predaplant you revive to go onto that Predaplant track, and now you have Poly in graveyard plus the Balthea. And then when you use the trigger effect in the graveyard, you can eventually banish our Spider to get that polymerization back. Okay, alright, that's cute. That's really cute. Okay, Primitive, normal spell card. You can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. It's a normal spell card. It sends a Predap card from your deck to the graveyard, except a copy of this card, to add a polymerization or fusion spell card from your deck to your hand. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn after this card resolves, except plant and dragon monsters. Does not check from where, so you are plant and dragon specific. Second effect, if any number of monsters are special summoned to your opponent's field, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target a fusion monster that you control and destroy it. That has to work with Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. I know that it has an effect that triggers when it is exploded. If this fusion summoned card is destroyed, you can destroy all of your opponent's special summoned monsters. Okay, so this is a way to pull the ripcord on your Starving Venom Fusion monster to get that trigger. Very funny way of going about that. So we set up any in-graveyard Predap effect, which off the top of my head I could not tell you. Folks, make sure you go watch Predaplant Explained. It does exist, and it has one of my favorite thumbnails ever. So you're kind of robbing yourself if you don't watch it. And then you can know how these interact with the current cards in the pool. The fact that it's any poly or fusion spell is outrageous, too. Normally they restrict what kinds of those. Now you're grabbing any spell card version of that. So while you are limited to only making plants and dragons, there are plenty good, at least dragon fusion monsters out there, including the ones that are involved in Predaplant. And Super Polymerization is still a house of a card. Cool stuff. Next up, for the last on this page, is Apex Polymerization. You can only activate one card with this card's name per turn, and neither player can activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. Hey, kind of like Super Polymerization. It pays 2,000 life points, then targets a effect monster on the field. Special summon a monster from your extra deck with the same type and attribute but a different level. Its effects are negated, then apply one of these effects. Fusion summon a fusion monster from your extra deck using both monsters, or send the summoned monster to the graveyard. So, that has some distinct level climbing capabilities here. This looks like a normal spell card. Yeah. So, in terms of Predaplants, there's like ones that would need venom or starving venom monsters. So if you have one, you can summon like another version of starving venom. If you have like a Predaplant, you can summon a different Predaplant fusion monster. Send the summoned monster to the graveyard. So it's not a legit fusion summon, it just special summons it. And its effects are negated, so it's not like it would do anything even if you had to keep it around. What's the with this? What's going on? Because like at first I would be all like, oh cool, now you have a way to get Starving Venom Winged Dragon onto the board, and then you can put it back in the Pendulum Zone, but it has to be destroyed while in the Monster Zone to place it in the Pendulum Zone. And Apex Fusion doesn't do that. It sends the summoned monster to the graveyard. So that's in Predaplants. I'm not exactly sure what it is. I think Lunalight actually has a really good way to use this because, or maybe it does because I think like I know that there are like differently named ones, but on top of the fact that they have plenty of ways to skip whatever names they need because they have like a fusion ladder thing going on. One like Cat Dancer goes into Leo Dancer, goes into all the other ones, and they're all in the extra deck. So while this could summon another version of it to fusion up with it, I think some of them need more than one fusion material that's not the named one. And even if they have plenty of ways of bypassing it anyway, so maybe they don't need this. This is something that I gotta ask all of you about. What are the applications for Apex Polymerization that are useful and or funny? Especially the funny part. These cards are cool. I like the monsters, at least. The spell cards, I think Primitive is going to be good. I just don't know what the exact applications are. I think all the cards are just net positives for the deck. I think all of these can be played. Okay, all the main deck ones. I'm still out on this one. Ain't no way this is playable. So, good stuff for that. And I think this next page was for, yeah, they had Singular page for Apex Polymerization, but they added that to the other one, so good for them. Next up, we have this random monster, Cherubadam Irisfiel. There's no way I'm pronouncing this correctly. Cherubadam Irisfiel. A rank 8 Light Fairy Xyz monster, 800 attack, 2500 defense, requires any 2 level 8 monsters as material. But once per turn, you can also Xyz summon a copy of this card by using one Xyz monster you control that has not activated its effect in the monster zone this turn. Transfers materials to this card. So, any Xyz monster, you can just rank up into this. If this card is Xyz summoned, you can activate this effect. This turn, Xyz monsters you control will gain attack equal to their own rank times 100 during the battle phase only. If this card would be destroyed by a battle or card effect, you can attach one material from this monster instead. Konami highly suggests combining this card with Galaxy Eyes Antimatter Dragon. I'll have to keep an eye out for that one. Because I haven't explained Galaxy Eyes yet. That's part of these, part of the subscriber milestones. They haven't reached yet. So I'll keep an eye out for some antimatter while I'm going around the orbital platform. So its effect only triggers the turn that it's summoned, and it's only their own rank times 100. But it is every Xyz monster. So you can pair this up with almost any other Xyz monster that is good at battling and give them a substantial combat bonus. And then this is like a level 8 rank 8 monster. Maybe you could fight with this, make a Zeus on top of that. Or maybe just turn any rank of anything into a rank 8 monster, and then that is utilized with something. That could be it. That's probably a huge bonus, especially because this is a lingering effect. This does not have to stick around on the field. This will activate this effect. This turn, Xyz monsters you control will gain that bonus. So it's like a condition on the board. So you can set it, or not set it, activate it, and well, don't forget it because nothing on the board is going to remind you about it. You definitely got to remember that you're getting the boost. But it's kind of like, it's one of the, it's like Skarm. It's like Magnamud. It's like one of the Magispectors. You just have a thing that will resolve later. Interesting card. Glad we have it. Junk and Synchron support. Folks, Blazing Dominion ain't just the realm of Jack Atlas. We are getting some Yusei stuff as well. There was like a Yusei Jack duel, I think, as part of this whole presentation. Gotta go see if I can hunt that down. I love it. Love it when they bring the rival characters together to do the stuff. Let's start with Assault Sonic Warrior. Yeah, Sonic Warrior. They got. I noticed only a little while ago that they were giving the Junk Warrior scarf to the associated monsters. That was a pretty fun idea. I like that. Assault Sonic Warrior, level 2 Wind Warrior monster, 1000 attack, 0 defense. You can only use the first, second, and third effect of this card's name each once per turn. First, if you control a Junk Warrior, Assault Mode activate, or a card that mentions either of them, you can special summon this card from your hand. So that's like the new field spell that they made. Or any of the Junk Warrior support that's come out. Second effect, if this card is normal or special summoned, you can add a Synchron monster or Assault Mode activate from your deck to your hand. Ooh, okay. Third, if this card is sent to the graveyard as Synchro material, you can activate this effect. This turn, monsters you control will gain 500 attack. Oh, just all of them. Just a blanket 500 boost for everyone. Okay. That's... Well, this is already blowing the original Sonic Warrior out of the water. This is great. I love it. Junk Signal. Quick play spell card. You can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. Activate one of these effects. You cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except Synchro monsters. Tribute a monster to special summon a Junk Warrior, a Stardust Dragon, or a monster that mentions either of them from your hand, deck, or graveyard, except the tributed monster. And when your opponent activates a card or effect in response to the activation of your Synchro monster's effect, you can negate that opponent's effect. Okay. So it's not a Junk Warrior monster or a Stardust Dragon monster. It has to either be them or their mentioned monsters. It does not count as a Synchro summon, which kind of makes sense because it doesn't pull them from the extra deck. But you can do a thing where you're in the middle of the battle phase and you punch and you can swap this out for one of the associated monsters and get some more damage in. I mean, heck, it gets Stardust Dragon back into rotation. That ain't terrible. And if you don't need to do that, you can just keep a hold of it so you can negate your opponent's effects, trying to stop your synchros from doing their thing. That's decent. It's pretty decent. Another spell card that you can search that's part of the whole Junk Warrior lineup. Assault, Synchron, Assault Warrior. I am still on the lookout for the perfect deck master for Yusei, by the way, for domain format. Just so we're clear here, I'm not grading this card based on that. I'm just looking at it. I've seen some comments whenever I bring this up. I'm letting you know. I know I'm bringing my own personal ideas for the card in here, so I'm not judging it on it. But it is a wind monster, which means that it covers our standard Stardust Dragons. It's a warrior. It has Synchron in there, so we can add all our Synchrons in here. This is close. It doesn't have Earth, so we can't get Quillbolt Hedgehog or anything like that. Which is kind of rough. We do like little side support monsters. So maybe not this one. Maybe not this one. Okay, let's go ahead and check out our next page here. Red Hypernova Dragon. Oh my god, they just when I think they can't go any further than Red Supernova Dragon, Red Hypernova Dragon. God, it's so cool looking. Level 12 Dark Dragon Synchro Monster, 4,500 attack, 3,000 defense. Must first be synchro summoned with the above materials. And what are those materials? 4 tuners and 1 or more non-tuner synchro monsters. I wonder what the playline is for getting this thing. First effect, gains 500 attack for each tuner in your graveyard. If you have 4 distinct tuners in your graveyard, if those all stay there, that is a 2,000 point boost. This is actually a 6,500 point monster. Second effect, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects, and it cannot be destroyed by their card effects. Third, once per turn as a quick effect, you can banish this card and as many cards your opponent controls as possible and in their graveyard. Then you can special summon 1 Red Nova Dragon from your extra deck, which is treated as a synchro summon. Okay, so Red Supernova Dragon is very, very powerful, but it is reactive. It has a lot of good defenses, but can only do its big board wipe thing in response to our opponent doing anything. Red Hypernova Dragon lets us pull the cord whenever we want, and it replaces itself with Red Nova Dragon. Red Supernova Dragon, I believe, it brings itself back. This one just turns into Red Nova Dragon as a synchro summon, which I'm double checking here has the same boost effect when it comes to tuners. It has 3,500 attack. You know, I'm just gonna bring it up here. I don't know why I'm trying to read it off to you when I could just use the power of the visual medium. So it would end up being 5,500 attack, which is still pretty good. Has an attack negate, and then it brings itself back. That's kind of okay. I'm fine. Red Supernova Dragon, on the other hand, though, this might be a bit of a downgrade, actually. Red Supernova Dragon, 3 tuners and 1 or more non-tuner synchro. It needs 1 less tuner. We don't have to explore quad tuning. We don't have to do triple tuning. Cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. I guess Hypernova Dragon can't be targeted either. Once per turn, when your opponent monster activates an effect, or when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can activate this effect. Banish this card and all cards your opponent controls. And then during your next end phase, after this card was banished by its own effect, special summon this banished card. Yeah, I don't know. I think Red Supernova Dragon is just better. It's more vulnerable to things like spell and trap cards, especially like non-destroying ones that can get around this. But at the same time, I don't know. It just feels like this is like more repeatable. It still responds to like a relevant trigger. I don't know. I feel bad for saying this. I think I'm actually underwhelmed by Red Hypernova Dragon. I'm getting desensitized to boss monsters. Ugh, it's a sad day. Okay, we have Charmer cards, folks. It's not that my Gaga Gigo video pulled more Charmer support out of the air, because that was already decided. My GoldenNovaYugioh video pulled the anime import into existence. That was my doing. This is a whole separate thing, and I'm so glad to see we're getting more of them. The first couple of cards that we saw were incredible. The Spellbook card and the Fusion Monster that were involved were both very powerful, and now it looks like we're getting 3 more new cards. Not as part of the structure deck. It's going to be in Blazing Dominion, but it's still a good addition to the theme. What are we seeing here? First is a Link monster, 4 Charmers in Profusion. A Link 4 light spellcaster monster with 1850 attack, of course, with left, right, bottom left, and bottom right arrows, requiring 2 or more monsters. Any monsters. Normal effect, blah, doesn't matter. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. First effect, it gains 300 attack for each attribute among monsters on the field. It doesn't even care about the material that was used for it. I thought it might care in that regard at least, but nope. So make this with as cheaply as possible and keep a bunch of elements on board. Second effect, once while face up on the field, so don't be trying to use this multiple times, and don't be trying to flip this down because we all know how Link monsters work. During the main phase, as a quick effect, you can target 2 monsters in your graveyard with the same type or attribute. Special summon both of them, but they and this card cannot be used as material for a Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or Link summon until the end of the next turn. End of the next turn. So even if you wait until the end of your opponent's main phase and use this, you are not going to be using these to do some funky extra deck shenanigans. Though you can bring back some good standalone monsters because it does not negate the effect. So that's pretty good. Not being able to use them as fusion material can be a little funky because then that means we can't use them for the Charmer thing. But if we tribute this and it goes to the graveyard, then we can use it as material. So for what it's worth. And it says once while face up on the field, but we can send this to the graveyard with some means and then bring it back. I guess it does say once per turn. Dang it. I was hoping we could find a way to get around that, but doesn't seem to be the case. Good effect. Just good, solid effect. This can go in almost any deck that summons a preponderance of monsters randomly to get you back more value for your monsters, and, you know, of course they have to share type or attribute, but come on. Now, that's like any archetype. That's not like for hire. Okay, next up, Familiars of the Spiritual Arts. This is the 4 buddies, but it is a level 4 water reptile monster because it's gotta be GoldenNovaYugioh, baby. It's got 1500 attack and 200 defense. This card is always treated as a familiar possessed card. You can only use the first, second, and third effect of this card's name each once per turn. First effect, if this card is normal or special summoned, you can add a Possessed Spell or Trap card or Grand Spiritual Art Ichirin from your deck to your hand. That is the field spell that can give you a monster negate. Second effect, you can declare a type and attribute. This card becomes the declared type and attribute until the end of this turn. And third effect, if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon a spellcaster monster with 1500 defense from your deck or graveyard. So you can get a Charmer, like a base Charmer. The second effect here is very good for accessing any of the Charmer Link monsters. They require at least one monster whose attribute matches the one you want to bring out, so you can do that. But being able to change its type and attribute to anything, there's a million niche applications for this that you could use. On top of the fact that this now also gets you things like the Possessed Spell and Trap cards, which are also pretty nifty. And then next is Possessed Resonance, a normal spell card. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. First effect, target one face-up monster on the field to special summon a Charmer or familiar possessed monster with the same attribute from your hand, field, deck or graveyard in attack position or face-down defense position. Then you can change the targeted monster to face-down defense position. Second, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one monster your opponent controls and change one monster you control and change its battle position. Oh, that is actually nasty. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, the base Charmer monsters came out a long time ago and they suck. They've got like 800 attack, 1500 defense, and they all have a flip effect that lets you target an opponent's monster and take control of it, as long as it's the same attribute as the Charmer. It has like specific text on there, like Ausa has like Earth, so it'll get Earth, that kind of thing. For as long as you control that Charmer, so half the time the Charmer would just get run over by battle anyway, so it wouldn't matter. But here, this gets tricky because you can target a monster on the field, summon a Charmer with the same attribute from a variety of zones. So if they have a fire monster, you can summon Hita in face-down defense position. Then you can change the targeted monster to face-down defense position. You don't have to, but you can if you want to. And then, because you can use both of these in the same turn, you can then banish this card to target a monster you control to change its battle position. You flip up the Charmer that you just set, take the opponent's monster. So now you get to have it without having to wait for the flip stuffs to happen. But that's not even the end of it, because the Charmers started the monsters that have inherent summon conditions from the deck pool of cards. There's the familiar possessed ones. I think that's the correct one, where you tribute a spellcaster you control and a monster of the applicable attribute to summon the associated familiar possessed from your deck. So you can either use the monster that you steal for whatever shenanigans you want to, or immediately link off those two to summon a monster from your main deck, which is either the original ones that get like piercing and are 1850 attack, or you can get the new ones that have a funky effect when you summon them using their own summoning conditions. And this is searchable. Shoot, this is searchable just with, like, familiars of the spirit arts. You just, like, you get the possessed spell, change it to whatever attribute you want for the, wow, this gets you any of those familiar possessed monsters really easily. That's kind of wonky. That's funny. Okay, sign me up. I may not think they're going to be good. I still think Charmers are a very niche deck, still underpowered. But between this and the Fairy Tale support, I don't know. You could give some decks a run for their money. This is wild. This is some wild cards. Okay, folks. Illusions back on the table. Transient Masquerader of Illusions. Now, it's got the eyes on there, so it has to have the effect. It has to have the effect. Level 8 Earth Illusion monster, 2400 attack, 0 defense. You can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn, and you can only use the third effect of this card's name once per duel. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can send a Fiend, Illusion, or Spellcaster monster from your deck to the graveyard. Then you can make this card's type become the sent monster's original type. Okay. So we gotta be special summoning this, though. Like, I don't know if we're tribute summoning a level 8 monster with Monarch attack stats just to copy a type. Though it does trigger graveyard effects. That's kind of important here. Second effect, if this card battles a monster, now that can be destroyed by that battle. Okay, we're good. Third effect, if this card is in your graveyard, you can banish a spell from your graveyard to special summon this card. So that's gonna be our primary way of getting this out here. We use this as material for some kind of fusion, because of course we're using it for fusion. Illusion and fusion rhyme. And then we're going to banish our spell card to get this out. We're going to send a Fiend, Illusion, or Spellcaster from our deck to our graveyard, trigger their effect. This becomes that type, meaning this is really good for like the Chimera Fusion deck. I'm putting it out there. I kind of wish it would just say Chimera Fusion in there somewhere so that we could, you know, add that to the roster, but I guess not. Solid card. Probably a good one of. The once per duel thing is kind of, that kind of sucks. But there are ways of bringing out more. We do have, like the third wave of illusion support, I think, gave us monsters that recur our illusions from the graveyard. So, this is not stuck to only one usage per duel, just the revival is, and we have ways to still use it. So this is pretty good. This is alright. I want to test this out. Okay, a new set of Archfiend cards. The last time we saw these, we saw the trio of tiny Archfiends battling it out for the throne. Now we are seeing what happens when eccentric Archfiend takes the throne. We're starting with Doom Regina Archfiend. Look at these arts. I'm gobsmacked. They're so good. Okay, our new ritual monster, level 7 Fiend Ritual Pendulum Monster, 2100 attack, 2900 defense with a scale of 9. It's Pendulum Effect. You can target an Archfiend spell or trap card in your graveyard or banishment, destroy this card, and if you do, add that card to your hand. That's pretty good because if I remember correctly, the ritual spell card while in the graveyard will recycle even while the ritual monster's in the face-up extra deck, so it's just helps you play the card more. And then then if it destroys itself, it's in the face-up extra deck, so you can that's where ritual summons the monster from. So it just sets it up. Monster effect. You can ritual summon this card with Throne of Archfiends, and it must be ritual summoned. You can only use the one effect of this card once per turn. If this card is ritual summoned, you can destroy all spell and trap cards your opponent controls. Then, if this card is in the extra monster zone, which it should be, you can banish all spell and trap cards in your opponent's graveyard. And it's unaffected by other monster effects while in the extra monster zone. So it's helping to set up all of your delicious towers situations. And then Archfiend Usurpation, quick play spell card. You can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. You can set an Archfiend trap card from your deck or graveyard, and it can be activated this turn. Or ritual summon an Archfiend ritual monster from your hand or face-up extra deck by attributing monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal or exceed its level. This is a quick play spell card. That is actually outrageous, right? Because... Okay, no, actually we got to go back to the drawing... not the drawing board. We got to go back to... the database on this one, because I remember... I mean, we can already see now that this one is a Harpy's Feather Duster with additional banishing added on to it. So that's one thing. But the base one, I remember, had a little some... I don't have it here yet. Dang, it's not in the card database. Archfiend Ritual Pendulum should pull it up fairly quickly. Yeah, here's the... Nope, this was the page that we just had. Where's the old one? No! My momentum is going downhill quickly. Okay, page is pulled up. I complained enough when we were here. Okay, Doom Emperor Archfiend. This was the last wave cards that we had. This card's ritual summon from the extra deck. You can banish all monsters on the field except those in the extra monster zone. Okay, so that is... This enables that. Oh, and it's so cool. This is level 7. Our new one's level 7. So we can continuously ritual summon each other out to keep... Oh, wow. That is nasty. And was I right about this? During the standby phase, if Doom Emperor Archfiend is face up in your extra deck, you can add this card from your graveyard or banishment to your hand. Okay, so you can recycle this card. But the eccentric version of it effectively lets her do it herself, because she pops herself to put this back into her hand, and then we can use this as a ritual summon. Oh, that's good. That's really good. Okay. I dig. These are just more tools for the toolbox. And then because, of course, it's unaffected by monster effects, it's more likely to be run over by battle, which will trigger all these smaller Archfiends to come back and get all of their effects. Goofy stuff. I love to see it. Good shit. Okay, Endymion cards. I missed out on the Endymion cards. Folks, just really quickly, I think one of the reasons that I didn't talk about this is because I didn't want to talk over Artist with a Fro, a friend of mine from way back when I was starting, who is also a huge lore buff when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh! And they have been making a push to make shorts, videos all about this stuff. So if I am the first person to talk that you're hearing this from, make sure you're also checking out Artist with a Fro, because they are... they're on top of it. They're so smart. They're so intelligent. Yeah, it's just another great source for lore stuff. Definitely give them a watch when you get the chance. They're also covering these cards. Now it's my turn to take a look at them with Regulus, the Prince of Endymion. So my understanding is that in the manga, we've had a time skip, and this is literally Endymion's son. Let's see what's going on with this one. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. If this card is in your hand, you can reveal another spellcaster monster in your hand. You lose life points equal to the revealed monster's level times 300, and if you do, special summon this card. So it wants you to play as low a level spellcaster as possible to take as little life point damage as possible. Okay. If this card is special summoned, you can add a spell that mentions Regulus, the Prince of Endymion, from your deck to your hand. Oh, so this is like a centerpiece card. Like, this is going to be... okay. Third effect, if this card will be destroyed by battle... the first time this card will be destroyed by battle, each turn it is not destroyed. Okay, so... free summon, minus some life points. Searches you a spell card, has battle protection. Okay. Vare, the Maid of Endymion, level 4 light spellcaster monster, 500 attack, 1400 defense. This card is always treated as a Witchcrafter card. That's pretty good. So now we have Tiny Vare. I definitely got to go back to reading the manga on this one, because I need to know the exact reason, because we saw Tall Lady Vare as part of the prologue storyline, and now we have Tiny Vare. What in the world? First effect. During your main phase, if a spell card or effect is activated this turn, you can special summon this card from your hand. Okay, once again, another free summon. Second effect, if this card is special summoned, you can add a Witchcrafter spell or trap card, or Wait a second. No, Magical Dimension is not what I'm thinking of. I was thinking Spell Chronicle. There's that meme combo with Spell Chronicle and I think Witchcraft or Patronus. Magical Dimension. Folks, I'm going to jog your memory really quickly. Do you remember what Magical Dimension is? Because it's the classic Dark Magician support card, Magical Dimension. It doesn't say it on here, but if you've seen, if you know, you know. Okay. And then third effect gains 2300 attack while you have Regulus, the Prince of Endymion, in your field or graveyard. So this can become a 2800 attack monster. That's huge. She mentions Magical Dimension because she uses a spell in the manga called Dimension Magic, which is the Japanese name for Magical Dimension. Yeah, but come on. Come on. Come on. Okay, next is Jenny, the Maid of Endymion, also a Witchcrafter monster. So this is, notable Witchcrafter monster. Also, that one Endymion ritual spell, Pendulum monster that everyone hates, the one that special summons Endymion from deck. They're the same monster. So this could easily be a menace. If you control a spellcaster monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. More special summons! Also level 1 spellcaster, so we only have to pay 300 to summon Regulus out of our hand. Good to know. Second effect, during the main phase as a quick effect, you can target one spellcaster monster you control. Banish it, and if you do, special summon a Witchcrafter monster from your deck, except a copy of this card. That's pretty good, because there's some pretty high-level Witchcrafter monsters that are otherwise a little clunky to summon. This just gets them out there. You can effectively summon any spellcaster, summon Genie alongside of them, and then transform that other spellcaster into... Oh, not even the other one. You can target one spellcaster you control. Oh, you can just turn this monster into another Witchcrafter. You just can't turn the summoned monster just can't be this one. Oh, okay. So this can just turn it into Witchcrafter. Oh, that's really good. That's kind of good if you're playing Witchcrafter. If you're playing some kind of hybrid deck that uses Witchcrafters, this is pretty good. Okay. The Endymion Empire continuous spell card. Whoa, okay. Well, that's a different castle than I'm used to seeing. You can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. First effect, when this card resolves, add a Regulus, the Prince of Endymion, or a monster that mentions it from your deck to your hand. Then if your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon a spellcaster monster from your hand. Second effect, if any number of cards you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can destroy a Regulus, the Prince of Endymion, in your hand or face-up field instead. Wow, that is a funky, funky protection effect. Regulus does not have any on-destruction effects, does it? If this card would be destroyed by battle, it can protect itself, but that's about it. Okay. So this probably isn't what we want. This probably is not what we want to search with Regulus. Although maybe if we have a spellcaster in hand that we want to really summon, we could use it to get another copy of Regulus and then get that other spellcaster onto the board. So this could be a search. It could be. Let's check this first. Arrow of Regulus. Quick play spell card. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. First effect. If you control Regulus, the Prince of Endymion, and you can search this out with his own effect, so activating this is pretty easy. Destroy an opponent's monster that battled this turn. So you can have Endymion fight them. It'll survive. And then you activate this and then pop. Or second, when a normal or quick play spell card is activated, negate the... Or you just have spell negation. Second effect, during your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target a Regulus or a monster that mentions it in the graveyard and special summon it. Okay, pretty neat. If your Regulus gets exploded, you can bring back Vare because it mentions it, and the Vare will be big, and it'll be special summoned, so it can get its cards. It can get whatever card that searches. Okay. I'm kind of a fan. These are some pretty interesting cards. I gotta read the manga. I gotta do it. I gotta get back into it. Okay, next up. We have the Overframe cards. Okay, so these are coming out in two different versions. The Heroes and the Rivals. Oh, did I pull the right one? Okay, I pulled the right page on this one. Okay, there's also like a serialization thing. The pack introduces the Grand Master Rare, a specialized rarity of which only 100 copies of each card will be printed, along with an exclusive serial number. So this doesn't matter, like, for regular people. It's fine. I just... When card games get serialized cards in them, I don't know. Like, the good news is that it's not like... They're not mechanically unique cards, so that's good. That would have been, like, the death knell. But when cards get that level of, like, collector's value attached to them, I get worried. I just get worried. I don't know. I'm a fogey. I'm an old fogey. Let's take a look at what the cards actually do and get excited about that. Dark Magician, the Pharaoh's Servant, a level 7 Dark Spellcaster monster with 2500 attack and 2100 defense. Could it have any other stat line? You can only use one of the second and third effect of this card's name per turn and only once that turn, so they are mutually exclusive. But the first effect is that this card's name becomes Dark Magician while on the field or in the graveyard. Not always, so we can play it alongside other Dark Magicians. Very good to see, because a lot of cards only interact with Dark Magicians, so this not taking up space for that is keen. Or not taking up space. It being compatible with those cards to make sure that they don't brick as much is good. Second effect, you can reveal a spell card in your hand to special summon this card from your hand. Then you can set a spell or trap card that mentions Dark Magician from your deck. Ooh. It doesn't let you activate it immediately, but if it is a normal spell card, you can just activate it. And third effect, quick effect, you can discard a spell card to destroy all spell and trap cards your opponent controls. So it's not Dark Magic attack. It's a Dark Burning attack is what it is. No, Dark Burning attack is if you control Dark Magician, girl, destroy all face-up monsters. Oh, is Dark Magic attack just is it Harpy's Feather Duster? Am I just getting these swapped around? If you control Dark Magician, control a spell and trap card your opponent controls. No, it is Dark Magic attack. It literally has that as its... That's so cool. So it turns any spell in your hand into the iconic attack spell. Heyo, that's kind of nutty. I like seeing that. The fact that it is mutually exclusive to its summon effect means it's a little slow. You can't like hit the board then immediately wipe your opponent. But if you summon it with some other method, which I'm sure there are plenty, you do get to immediately turn your spell cards into backer removal. That's sick as hell. Let's go. Okay, next up is favorite hero, Shining Flare Wingman. Not elemental hero, but it is treated as an elemental hero. Thank God. Okay, so it's still compatible with all the elemental hero support cards. So it requires a fusion monster and a face-up monster on the field. So I believe this means you can still Miracle Fusion with this. No, Miracle Fusion uses hand and graveyard. It specifically doesn't use the field. Not Miracle Field, Miracle Fusion. Nova, you dunce. You dummy. Banishing materials from your field or graveyard. No, so never mind. We can Miracle Fusion this. And thankfully, it doesn't require us to go through the Flame Wingman part of this. So this is, it's like we got like a Pokemon EX kind of version. We turned our Fusion Ladder monster into a basic Pokemon. Okay, first effect. If this card is special summoned from the extra deck, you can shuffle 5 monsters from your graveyard into the deck, then draw 2. And if you do, this card gains 1,000 attack. That's so cool. I guess it is a fusion monster itself, so we are kind of doing a synchro climbing, fusion climbing thing. But this is Pot of Avarice on a monster, and it's actually, I would say this is very accessible. A fusion plus any monster on the board high. Super Polymerization is knocking. Hello? This is... Whoa. This card destroys a monster by battle and inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack. So it has the Flame Wingman effect. This is kind of nutty, actually. I actually would consider playing this in Branded. Is this... Am I going wild here? It's level 8, so it's compatible with all the fusion effects. Wow. It recycles, it draws us cards. It can go to 3,500 attack? Huh? Okay. I think it might be my favorite hero now. What is this name? Stardust Dragon Victim Sanctuary. I don't know. That's such an interesting combination of words. Level 8 Wind Dragon Synchro Monster, 2,500 attack, 2,000 defense, requires generic material. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. Also, you cannot activate them on the same chain. So same turn you can, just not the same chain. First effect, when your opponent activates a card or effect in response to the activation of your card or effect as a quick effect, you contribute this card to negate that opponent's effect and if you destroy that card. Oh, so this is an Omni-Negate to anything that responds to your stuff. Sick. Second effect, if your monster was tributed this turn as a quick effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard to special summon a Stardust. Okay, now it doesn't count as a synchro summon, so that's fine. That's good. Like baseline, this turns into Stardust Dragon. Though, of course, that Stardust Dragon wasn't properly summoned, so it wouldn't be able to loop its own protection effect. Okay, Chronicle Spark has to be synchro summoned. I'm just doing a quick check here. Cipher also. Stardust Warrior does not have to. It's only Stardust Synchro Monster, not a Stardust Dragon. Okay. And then Spark Dragon is probably another good pick here. Okay, this is fine. This is fine. This is fun. This is a fun card. I don't like it as much as the other cards, but I do like its broader utility when it comes to negating stuff. That's pretty cool. Okay, number 38, Utopia, the Envoy of Light. A rank 4 Light Warrior Exceeds monster, 2500 attack, 2000 defense, requires 2 level 4 monsters as material. It cannot be destroyed by battle except with a number monster. Folks, we're making it happen. It's anime as hell over here. Second effect, quick effect. You can detach a material from this card, then target a monster your opponent controls. The first time it would be, or target a monster you control. My apologies. The first time it would be destroyed by battle. A card effect this turn, it is not destroyed. And third effect, when the second attack of this card is declared, you can make it gain 2500 attack, and if you do, it gains this effect. When this card destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can special summon it to your field. Woo! Okay, so this is playing off of the whole, like, double or nothing that we see on Utopia Double, which is cool. And it's even better here because it doesn't necessarily have to use all of the weird forcing negates to happen to use your effects to get your damage going kind of nonsense. You just need to find a way to give it a second attack. There's got to be other ways to do that we can add on here. And when we do, it turns into a Goyo Guardian that has 5000 attack. It doesn't have the auto-destruct effect. And it can provide protection. That's so cool. I also like that these are not once per turn effects. So if you have 2 materials on here, granted it says the first time, so I don't think you can like detach 2 materials to keep a monster safe from being destroyed twice in a turn. I think you can protect multiple monsters. So that's funky. Next up is Odd Eye's Pendulum Dragon of the 4 Heavenly Dragons, a level 7 Dark Dragon Pendulum monster with 2500 attack, 2000 defense, and a scale of 4. Its Pendulum effect. During your main phase, you can destroy this card, and if you do, add a Pendulum monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck to your hand. Also for the rest of the turn, unless you Pendulum Summon after this effect resolves, you cannot activate monster effects on the field. That is the classic restriction. That's like old Odd Eye's Pendulum Dragon, but now you get to use it during a time where you can, make use of it. Alright. Monster time. This Pendulum summoned monster gains this effect. Number 1. Gains attack equal to the difference between the pendulum scales of the 2 cards in your Pendulum Zone times 300. So, a scale of 1 to 8, the difference is 7, times 300 is 2100, putting this at 4600 attack with that kind of scale, which I believe is fairly easy to make in Odd Eye's adjacent decks. Also, any battle damage your opponent takes from battles involving this card is doubled. Sick. Second effect. If this card in the monster zone is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can add it to your hand. Then if it was destroyed by your opponent, you can special summon it. It's like a little reactive pendulum summon, maybe? That's kind of funny. Yeah, this card is sick. This effect does not key into the pendulum effect because it would not be destroyed in the monster zone, but I think it's just fine. I guess also it's notable that it is destroying itself, and there are plenty of cards in the Odd Eyes Perform a Pal pile that care about your own cards being destroyed, so this is another way to enable that. Just make sure you've got your Pendulum Summon on standby, okay? Okay, our last hero card is Decode Talker Integration, a Link 3 Dark Cyberse monster, 2300 attack, requiring 2+ effect monsters as material. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. First effect, this card in the extra monster zone gains 500 attack for every other Link monster on the field and in the graveyard. Also, your opponent can't target it with card effects. Oh, so not just like the things that point to it. In fact, it doesn't even count things that it points to at all. It just cares about other Link monsters in any other, aside from the banishment, any other public knowledge zone. Second effect, as a quick effect, you contribute 1 monster this card points to, there we go, to send a Cyberse monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. Also, this card can make 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase of this turn. And if there's one thing I know about Cyberse monsters that live in the extra deck, is that they love being in the graveyard. They cannot die fast enough, which is a horrific implication considering how Vrain's goes. And I'm going to stop there before I do a spoiler. Let's go look at the rival cards. The hero ones were pretty good. I can't wait to see how the rival cards stack up. Starting with Blue Eyes White Dragon, the White Phantom Beast. Buddy, you can't be a Phantom Beast here. That's not... What? That's not right. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. First effect, when this card is added from your deck to your hand or your monster is destroyed by battle, you can reveal this card in your hand to special summon it. Easy way to get onto the field. Notably, does not seem to have a piece of text that says it's counted as Blue Eyes White Dragon anywhere. Not like our Dark Magician card. Second, if this card is special summoned from your hand or deck, you can destroy all monsters your opponent controls. Also, you can only attack directly with Blue Eyes. Oh, we can only attack directly with Blue Eyes. That's nutty. What? It's Raigeki, and the only thing you're attacking directly with is 3,000 plus attack monsters. Huh? When a card or effect is activated that targets this card on the field, you can discard a card to negate it. Oh, so it also resists interaction. Okay. Alright. Crimson Dragon Quetzalcoatl. Okay, we do have a GX representative here. I was getting a little worried. So the Crimson Dragon is the rival? Holy. The gang is all here. Why? I'm so curious why this is the thing that they chose, though. Isn't the Crimson Dragon supposed to be like their buddy? Like the epitome of the Signer Dragons? Why can't we get like a Mech Lord? Or like one of the frickin' Earthbound Immortals? Still, it does look really sick, I can't deny. It was probably chosen because it looks fresh as hell. Level 12 Dark Dragon Synchro Monster requiring generic materials. You can only use the first and third effect of this card's name each once per turn. If this card is Synchro Summoned, you can special summon as many Dragon Synchro Monsters from your graveyard as possible. Also, you can't special summon for the rest of this turn. Gains attack equal to the total original attack of all the Synchro Monsters. Okay, I'm sorry to see why the card is like that. When your opponent activates a monster effect as a quick effect, you can return one other Dragon Synchro monster you control to the active deck, and if you do negate the activation, that is pretty good. Okay, so this is just a good card to have if you're playing Dragon Synchro spam. This is... imagine playing this in just RDA. Just all the synchro climbing that you were doing with Dragon Synchro monsters beforehand, you get to put those back. You can put like your Red Rising Dragon back. That is crazy. Crimson Dragon Quetzalcoatl, you're crazy. Okay. Finally, something for the real duelists out here. Cyber End Dragon, the Decisive Strike Dragon. A level 10 light machine fusion monster with 4,000 attack and 2,800 defense, requiring 3 machine monsters with 2,100 or more attack. It's not just Cyber Dragons. It must be fusion summoned, and you can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. If this card is fusion summoned using only light monsters, you can pay 4,000 life points to add a limiter removal from your deck to your hand. It deals piercing battle damage, and when this card whose current attack is higher than its original attack... This card whose current attack is higher than its original attack can make a second and third attack during each battle phase. That's mean. You're gonna let me be that mean? That's mean. Okay, so off the bat, of course you can pay the 4,000 to get limiter removal. Turn this into an 8,000 attack triple piercer. You can do that. That's 2,400 points of potential damage ready to kill your opponent with. That being said, you are putting yourself in a pretty precarious position but thankfully it just has to have a higher attack than its original attack. So as long as you're playing anything that buffs this incidentally, you get your multi-attacks. Seeger. I think Seeger just, like, exists, and it only keeps itself from dealing damage when it uses its boost effect. Gotta double check here. Quick effect. You can target one machine monster you control with 2100 or more attack for the rest of this turn. That monster gains 2100 attack and defense. Also, neither player takes any battle damage from attacks involving this monster. So Seeger is out here turning this into a 6100 triple attacker. You could use Clockwork Knights to turn this, put this at 4500 attack, and then it's a triple attacker. This is a problem, I think. That's pretty good. All you have to do is, I guess the only thing holding it back is that it's a light machine monster, so we can't just burn all of our resources and overload fusion this thing into existence. But we can still use the one that fusion summons from your banishment. So, I guess watch out, opposing duelists. Cyber dragons are about to come back in a big way. Okay, next up is Galaxy-Sized Photon Dragon, Photon Howling. A rank 8 Light Dragon Xyz monster with 4500 attack and 3000 defense, requiring 3 level 8 monsters. Oh no, sorry. It's Neo Galaxy-Sized Photon Dragon, Photon Howling. My apologies. Once per turn, you can also Xyz summon this card by using one rank 8 monster you control. Hey, we just talked about a rank 8 monster that you can make out of any other Xyz monster, so this can be functionally accessed with any Xyz monster. This is not Antimatter Dragon, but I still think it's relevant. Look at... Hello everyone, I'm Galaxy-Sized Photon Dragon, and I'm the skull face that is added onto it for added effect. I'm so happy. What is that? Why did they add that in there? What's going on here? Okay. First effect, if this card is Xyz summoned, you can take a Photon monster from your deck and either special summon in defense position or attach it to this card's material. Quick effect, you can detach 3 materials from this card, tribute one other Xyz monster, and if you do, negate the effects of all other face-up cards currently on the field until the end of the turn. Okay. Well... I mean, I guess it's an automatic shut-off valve. It doesn't have the multi-attack. I think it's just good that it is able to just negate stuff. It's interaction. And I think that's the important part for sure. Okay, this is fine. It's not as outrageous as the other ones, but this still has its usages. Oh, we're back. We didn't get a Zark card. We got a Starving Venom. Starving Venom Fusion Dragon of the 4 Heavenly Dragons. Level 8 Dark Dragon Fusion monster with 2000 attack and 2000 defense, requiring any 2 dark monsters on the field. And this card is always treated as a Predaplant card. Let's go! If this card is special summoned, you can target one other face-up monster on the field and change its attack to 0. Negate its effects. Also, its attribute becomes dark. It does not wear off. Second effect, when your opponent activates a card or effect as a quick effect, you can fusion summon a dark fusion monster from your extra deck using dark monsters on the field, including this card. It doesn't say both sides of the field, so I don't think this gets to steal our opponent's monsters by itself. I'm fairly sure that's what that reads. Yeah. I'm gonna believe that I'm right with that. Still pretty good though. Like 2 dark monsters on the field, resulting in zeroing out a monster forever. That can also quick fuse at some point. That's not nothing. I don't think this is quite as splashable in the branded stuff as our hero card was, but I could see some usages for this one, especially if we summon this at quick speed. Just zero out a monster. I dig it. Okay, last rival card, a Borreload Liberator Dragon. Oh, they put Tracer. Got Tracer Bullet on its way to a Dragon Link combo. They should have done an over art card of Boral Sword Dragon doing the walk. I think we need that one as an over break for sure. Okay. Link 4 Dark Dragon monster with 3000 attack, requiring 3 or more effect monsters as material, and you can only special summon copies of this card once per turn. First effect, once per turn during the battle phase, as a quick effect, you can place one monster your opponent controls in a zone this card points to, and take control of it. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. Neat! Second effect, once per chain, if this card is in your graveyard as a quick effect, you can target one monster you control. Destroy it, and if you do, special summon this card. So I guess that's why this line of text is here. That's gnarly. So it's during the battle phase, not when it attacks. So you can do it during either player's turn, and no matter whether it's in the extra monster zone or main monster zone, it'll have arrows open with which to steal monsters into. It's unrespondable, so negation doesn't work on this unless it's one of those newfangled doesn't have to activate negates that are going around. And it can pop your monsters to revive itself. That's pretty good. And it's any 3 effect monsters. Or 3 plus effect monsters. It's a link 4, so we have to use 4 link materials worth, but it's minimum 3. So a link 2 and 2 regular monsters. That's really good. Huh? That's really good. Oh boy, these cards are. Some of these cards are a little mid, but some of them are going brazy mode. Okay, this is the last page that I've got pulled up here. Some anime cards that are coming in alongside our overbreak limit cards. I don't remember. These rival ones are Infernity ones, right? I forget what these other ones do or are. This looks like a Zark thing for the second one. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on here. So we have Underworld Circle, a continuous spell card. You can only activate one card with this card's name per duel. We've got a Seal of Orichalcos thing going on here. Activate this card if there are 5 or more monsters in each graveyard. Destroy as many monsters on the field as possible. Then each player banishes all monsters from their deck face down. Then you can special summon a normal monster from your graveyard. Second effect, once per turn during the standby phase, each player can special summon one monster from their graveyard, ignoring its summoning conditions, but banish it when it leaves the field. What? That's what I'm saying, Moby. What is the deck that uses this card? This is like proactive, what is it, Inferno something? That's, what in the world? That is goofy. That is made of goofiness. Okay, Master Spirit Tech Force Pendulum Ruler, a level 12 light machine fusion pendulum monster with 3500 attack and 3000 defense. You can only use the pendulum effect of this card's name once per turn. During your main phase, you can return this card to the extra deck. Then you can add a level 7 pendulum monster from your deck or face-up extra deck to your hand. As a monster, it requires a level 7 or higher pendulum monster and any pendulum monster as material. You can only use the third monster effect of this card's name up to twice per turn. First effect, it cannot be destroyed by card effects. Don't even try it. Second, your opponent's monsters cannot attack except pendulum monsters without a level. So, exceeds pendulum monsters. If they make a link pendulum monster, I'm gonna lose it. They can only attack with exceeds pendulum monsters. Third, you can tribute one monster, then target one card your opponent controls. Destroy it, and if you do, inflict 1600 damage to them. So we can do that twice per turn. Fourth, once per turn you can place this card in your pendulum zone. What? It's a 3500 monster. big attack, can turn monsters into removal and damage, prevents attacks, we can put it in our pendulum zone, scale 1 is pretty good, and then we can recycle it to get back one of our level 7 pendulum monsters. What? It looks cool, but what? I'm floored. I don't know what's going on. This is for the pendulum people out there. Whatever this enables, you gotta tell me. I need to know what Master Spirit Tech Force is doing. What's the Tech Force tech pick? Okay, level 3 Fire Fiend monster, Gatling Ogre has 800 attack and 800 defense. You can send any number of set cards from your spell and trap zone to the graveyard to inflict 800 damage to your opponent for each. Also, your opponent takes no damage from non-fiend monster effects for the rest of the turn. Darn, I can't splash this in Gem Knight FTK. Oh well. Second effect. Once per turn, when this card is targeted for an attack, you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each of their attack position monsters, then end the battle phase. Oh. Okay. So this is like just like an ender card. Like if like we're done, like they only have a few life points left, each of your set cards in your back row become like Gaga Cowboys. So you can blast your opponent with them. If you set 5 pass turns into dead. Wow. And then it stops battle phases. And then it's Infernity Doom Slinger, level 1, Dark Fiend monster, 100 attack and defense. You only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. First effect, during your main phase, you can special summon a Fiend monster from your hand. Neat! Just get more Fiends out. Second effect, if you have no cards in your hand as a quick effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard and your opponent chooses one of these effects for you to resolve. Either you reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a monster, your opponent takes any effect damage you would have taken this turn instead. Otherwise, you take 4,000 damage, or you take no effect damage this turn. Huh? Okay, there's got to be something. I do not think I have known Infernity to have a lot of self-burn effects. If anything, this feels like something that should belong in DDD. Maybe that's what it is, but they get to pick. So either they roll the dice on not even taking damage. Either your opponent says, I will risk you having effect damage to hit me with if it means you might hit a non-monster, which will dome you for 4k, or give you effect damage immunity for a turn. But I'm not sure like what cards that is meant to enable. What card has such a detrimental self-damaging effect that would, if you didn't have to deal with that damage, would make it good? I'm drawing a blank on what that is. But thankfully, I'm sure there's a lot more Infernity fans out there who know what the heck is going on with this one. And I'm pretty sure it's just like a Crash Town reference largely anyway. This is pretty nifty. I think maybe it has something to do with like Gatling Ogre. Gatling Ogre is not an Infernity monster, so this is probably like the other Duelist's card. And it does a lot of effect damage, so it might just be in reference to that. But I'm gonna once again leave that up to you because I have no bloody idea what's going on with that one. Wow, this is a lot of cards. Holy cow. The frame break cards are crazy. I love them. There are so many good ones. The Predator Plant cards are kind of exciting. I love to see them. The Endymion cards are pretty cool. Yeah, this is nifty. I'm looking forward to seeing people doing their best to make Underworld Circle decks. There's got to be something goofy you can do with that. But that does it for me. I don't really have anything else to add to this. Fantastic cards. Magical Dimension confirmed. Canon Dark Magician, anyone? Yeah, let me know what your thoughts are down below. What of all of these are you most excited for? And is there a frame break monster card that you would like to see? Or not even monster, they've been doing it for spells and traps too. What frame break card would you like to see? Or a retrain being brought in as a frame break? Let me know down below about that or any of the other cards that were shown off in this episode. What crazy combos you have cooked up and what your hopes and dreams are for them. I want to know all that wonderful information that's sitting in your brain wrinkles. I wanna sup it up. Until the next time Konami drops some juicy spoilers, I will see all of you next time. Bye-bye. Today's episode is brought to you by Dragon Shield. Get the sleeves as strong as dragon scales and save 5% on your order by using the coupon code GoldenNova at checkout while helping out the channel. It was also brought to you by my lovely patrons, including this month's illustrious Quasar Commanders, Upstairs Media, and the Critic of Innocence, Nebula Navigators, 3rd Dynasty, Ada Basilisk, Adam Zajdel, Ancient Wizard, Andrew Newman, Battle Axe, Beastsman, Charlie Mercury, Chibi Gohan, Christopher Fuss, Clockswork, Comrade Kapabumba, Eric, Frankie, Green Knight, Great Big Pillock, Groog, Hairbear, Harry the Ominous Benefactor, Iron Zero, Iskander 711, Carp, Marion James C. Picata, Meme King, Muse Clark, Neon Yami Nair, Orozco 09096, Panther J, Pat Boos, Rebel King Lucifer, Red Eyes Jackalow, Redtail, RJ the Jank Monarch, Sonic 21 Blast, That One Dumbass and the Wizard Moose, Cosmic Crusaders, Anthrak, A Random Pup, Blaze Rider, Blitzwolf, Brandon Guzman, Chaz Ghost, Christopher Fuss, again, Cool Trainer Dark, Dr. Entity, RIP, Eki Bullock, Edelweiss EN, Eva Padilla, Herbal D, Inblink, J.A. Flair, Julian Marquez, Kale the Dragon, Kryptonian Blurred, Lobomaru02, Manga Pages, Millennia Asta, Mr. Machina, Natiel Lee Alexander, Nicholas Murphy, Not Al Gore, Obsidian, Rhyme Kairos, Rogue Wolf, Seraph SG, Shizuki Nijimura, Stephen Huntsman, The Legendary Raven, The Queen of Time, Tiger X2476, Tristan O'Meara, Zaldreka, Zephrath the Rock Thing, and Zentha, as well as all the lovely Starlight Explorers you see on screen now. If you'd like to help me in my journey to cover all of Yu-Gi-Oh's archetypes, get my videos early, be a part of these credits and other awesome perks, it would mean the world to me if you would check out the link to my Patreon in the description or consider joining as a YouTube member.